Well, I can't believe it. The first time in, I think, 18 years of doing lawn care, somebody literally told me yesterday to get off my lawn. And that wasn't my customer, it was the neighbor. I'm gonna tell you the full details in this story. Tell me if I'm unreasonable, how I could have handled the situation better, and I think we'll all learn something from this video, hopefully something that some of you can relate to. So let's get started. Today's video is sponsored by Yardbook. I've been using Yardbook since 2015 to run my lawn care business. If you need a software, go to yardbook.com and sign up for a free account. So here's what happened. I'm out there in a neighborhood in my town. I do weed control and fertilization if you're new to the channel. And I'm in a neighborhood where the houses are very, very close together. I'm gonna estimate 10 to 12 feet apart. Tiny little yards. And the neighborhood is basically one circle is the street there. And the roads are even narrow. So the way the roads are set up in this particular neighborhood, you can only park on one side of the street for much of the neighborhood. Well, it just so happens I have a lot of yards in this neighborhood, and I like it because the yards are small. Well, picture that. So you can only park on one side. Well, my customer's house is on the opposite side of the area that you can park. And it's one of those neighborhoods where you got the little strip of grass in between the sidewalk and the curb, okay? And then people have like a tiny front yard and a tiny backyard, and you got to park your car behind the back because very few people have a driveway in the front. So, you know, it's just a tiny neighborhood where the houses are crammed in there. Well, I have about 7 yards, I think, on this one street. So I parked my truck at one of my customers' house and I unload my ride-on spreader sprayer, and I'm applying a herbicide to try to kill the weeds. All right, so what I do is, instead of, there's no driveway to like get up onto the person's yard, so I unload my machine and I'm able to use the ramp to get onto the curb there, get in that customer's yard, and then there's a sidewalk. And so I'm just riding the machine down the sidewalk to spray my customers' yards. And then I get down to the end of the road, and there's like a little ramp there, like a handicap access ramp where I can get off the sidewalk, and I use the handicap access ramp to get back on the sidewalk on the other side of the street, and I ride back and I'm spray all my yards on that side. And then I go and park the machine up. Well, as I pass by this one house, a lady steps out the door and looks at me, not particularly wanting to be friendly. I just filed that away. I was on my machine. I drove by her house. It took approximately 3 seconds to drive by her house. I was like, what? Actually, I drove past it one time. I might have drove past it the other. I don't know. Whatever. She made a look. I didn't even think much of it. I come back. I move my truck because I had to do a little bit of spot treating with a different little handheld machine or backpack or something like that. So I'm walking and I moved my truck. Now, granted, again, you can't park on her side of the street where this customer is. And the lady who looked at me weird, she lives next door to my customer. So I park on the opposite side of the street. I can't even park directly across from their house because there's a road there. So I have to park down the curb a little bit, diagonally across from where they live. Okay, so what happens is I walk and I go and I spray something on their on my customer's yard. I had to do it 2 different times because you do 2 different processes. So I grab a thing, go spray her yard, come back, grab a different thing, go spray her yard, come back. The second time I come back, the lady jumps out the window, not the window, the door. Comes out and she is upset. And she says, hey, will you get off my grass? And something, you know, along the lines of that I had stepped on her lawn. And I just sitting there, is this real? I mean, I know I've seen these memes on the internet where Karen is yelling at somebody to get off my lawn, and this lady looks the part, and of course, is certainly acting a part of, hey, get off my lawn. And I'm like, this lady, if she's got 500 square feet of grass in her front yard, and it doesn't look that good, and I was like, and so here was my response. And I've gotten slightly better at this. I've not always had the best interactions with rude people, and I'm trying to do better, if for lack of a better word there. I say, hey, you know, just as a human to human, That's the way I worded it, because I was like, what am I gonna say to this lady? I said, human to human, you know, if maybe next time if you would say, hey sir, my husband and I work really hard on our yard. Could you please not step on our grass? I said, I think if you said it like that, it would have been a little bit better. And I said, it was kind of disrespectful the way you spoke to me. She said, well, speaking of disrespect, you're the one that disrespected me. She said, you know, walked across my grass 2 times and you drove your machine and the tires got on my grass. And I said, well, I don't think my machine got on your grass, and I don't think that. I've been driving machines for a long time. If one thing, I'm not good at badminton, I'm not good at a lot of things, but I can drive the machine on flat ground and stay on a 48-inch sidewalk when a machine that'll fit through a 36-inch gate. I can. I'm very, very capable of doing that. So I'm not just like out there halfway paying, oh, I accidentally ran into that person's yard. Like, I'm not doing it. I'm driving down the sidewalk. And so I don't think I touched her grass with a machine. And I'm not talking about a backhoe that I'm driving. I'm driving a machine that doesn't weigh that much. The ground's not wet. I don't think I got on her grass. If I did, I don't think I did. If I did, it could have possibly been a tire that was 1 inch on one blade of grass on a dry day. And then the other thing is, how does she know I got on grass? I don't think she had a door cam. Matter of fact, her purse probably has 2 or 3 door cams. But I think I guess she literally in the middle of the day on a Thursday is staring out the window just to see if somebody got on her lawn. And she elaborates, she said, you know, we in this neighborhood, she said, we deal with this all the time. People on our grass, walking on our grass, and that's why our yards around here don't look good. It's because people walk in their yard, and I told somebody else I know in the neighborhood, he said, yeah, he said, she's got the dog don't poop in my yard sign. He said, she's even got the cat don't poop in my yard sign. I thought, well, I didn't even know they had though. I mean, why stop with that? Why don't we try to shut down the birds? You know, I mean, what's up with these birds flying over, pooping in your yard? And anyway, I said, I don't think I drove a machine yard. She said I did. And I said, well, all right, whatever. You know, and then I did walk in her yard. Now I did step in that little strip of grass in between the sidewalk and the curb. You know, that 3-foot little strip of grass. It was the way my truck was parked. It was at an angle, and I guess I took the shortcut and I stepped on her grass twice. I did it on the way. I had to go back to, you know, whatever. So I didn't deny that. I did that. I did not know, and I think that's what I told her. I said, I didn't know that was disrespectful or offensive. And I don't just walk through people's yards all the time, but I just didn't, in my mind, wasn't thinking like, oh, I walked on people's grass. But then I got to thinking about it, and I didn't say this to her, but like, where I park my truck on the other side of the road, how am I supposed to get into my truck? Because as soon as I open my truck door, that's not my customer's house. Like, my customer lives way down the road, the other one. I can't park on your side of the road because it's a fire lane. I can only park. So am I supposed to park my truck 100 yards down the road over there so I can step out onto the grass of my customer, walk all the way down the sidewalk and then spray your yard? You know, or am I supposed to stand on the sidewalk, open my truck door, and then jump over the 3-foot thing of grass into my truck, hopefully not landed on the grass? I mean, is that what I'm supposed to do? Because to get into my truck, I have to take one step in somebody's precious grass, you know. And I did tell her this. I said, lady, I got one of the nicest yards in the whole town. I do, one of the nicest. I said, I let people drive their truck across my yard. I don't care. I mean, it's just, her yard didn't look that good, and I understand people frustrated, but here's what I was thinking. Like, if you are that kind of person, one, you need something to do. I mean, she needs something to do so bad. If I get older one day, she wasn't that old, a little older than me. If I get a point in my life Well, I don't have anything to do but to stare out the window and make sure that nobody steps on my grass. And I mean, you please tell me to go be a greeter at Walmart or something. I mean, you got to have something to do, or you're going to drive yourself insane. I mean, and this lady, she wasn't just having a bad day. She's had a bad decade, at least. I mean, she's had a rough go, and she wants to take it out of the world. And then the other thing is, you live in a neighborhood. There's a lot of places to live. She chose to live in a neighborhood full of young families with little kids who ride their bicycles and scooters around. This is the neighborhood we go to for Halloween to take my kids trick-or-treat. I bet she has a nervous breakdown on Halloween, watching all those kids walk through people's grass. And I think what I thought about doing, I'm not gonna do this. Okay, I'll talk what I maybe should do, but on Halloween, I know where she lives. My gut feeling is she's got her lights turned off and we're not home on Halloween person, you know, in a neighborhood where everybody's home. But they're just about, I must say, I could walk up there with her if she's handing out candy and she wouldn't recognize me in the dark on Halloween in October, but I could just make some kind of comment as my kids are getting the candy. I could say nonchalantly, where she could overhear me. He's like, wow, with all these kids walking on the grass, I'm sure there's doing some serious damage to these lawns, you know. Just let her know she wouldn't sleep at night thinking about the one blade of grass that got stepped on and it might never grow back or could never look the same. Yeah, I want to tell her, I got herbicide on my shoes. Those weeds in your yard, I probably killed a few of them just stepping on your grass, you know. It probably helped you out. Anyway, over time, I did talk her down a little bit to where she did not apologize, but she said, I shouldn't have been so rude, basically, which I give her credit for that. And she just said, you know, that this happens all the time in this neighborhood. I'm like, yeah, of course it does. You live in a neighborhood with all these kids. I mean, what do you expect is going to happen? There's dogs, there's cats, there's birds. I mean, you can't stop everything from getting on your precious. What's the point of having a lawn that you can't even step on? I mean, what in the world? I mean, I feel like our husband's over there on the sidewalk trying to trim that little bit of grass without stepping on it, just reaching, lunging over there to the curb. Let me see if I can edge it without stepping on it. I mean, what in the world? Anyway, it was frustrating. I think how you respond to these situations, lawn care can be frustrating. The grass is not that hard to deal with. The people are the challenge sometimes. To me, the way you deal with this is I should have asked more questions. I did a better job this time than the last situation. I can put that video up if you thought this one was good. You can watch another one where I had an interaction. And I don't do this regular. I mean, most of the time, I'm having a great day. I'm on a scale of 1 to 10, I'm about a 6 friendly, you know, normally maybe even a 5. When I'm doing lawn care, I'm probably an 8.5. I wave at people that I don't know. I smile at children on their bicycle. I talk to the neighbor. And that's the other thing. I had just gotten done with a situation where I was working on a different customer's yard, same neighborhood, same street. And the neighbor's out watering her flowers or something, and she had a lot of chinch bug damage in her zoysia yard. I said, excuse me, ma'am. I walked in her yard. I said, I just wanted you to know what happened to your yard last year. I said, it's actually chinch bug damage you got here. And she said, oh, really? I thought it was zoysia, just drought damage on my zoysia. She actually said, you know what kind of grass she had. It was landscape nice. She hadn't lived there that long. And she was so appreciative of me telling her what was wrong. She said, well, could you give me a quote? She said, the person that's doing mine, he's been doing it forever and just used to work for my mom and all that, you know, and I don't know if he knows what he's doing or been, you know, going to do it that much longer. So I said, sure, I'll give you a quote. And so she was so nice and kind, and I stepped on her grass and everything. So I think the point is, in these situations, I don't think you have to let people talk down to you. I didn't do that. I didn't yell at her. I didn't get mad at her. I did defend myself. But I think I maybe next time would try to ask more questions. And the reason you try to ask more questions in my mind, because these people are totally ridiculous. They don't make good sense. Their arguments are flawed. and she don't know anything about grass stepping on. Now, if I stepped on it every day for 1,000 straight days and just stomped my feet and rubbed it, yeah, I might cause some damage. But and I can be more respectful. And I told her, I said, point taken. I won't walk on your grass. You know, now, I ain't saying I ain't gonna drive my machine down her sidewalk, down the side. It's not her sidewalk. It's not her sidewalk. And how else am I gonna get to the houses? I'm gonna jump the curb at every single house. I mean, I'm just driving the machine down the sidewalk to get to my next house. That's how it works. You know, and it's not a big deal. Anyway, I think you ask questions to hopefully lead them to the foolishness of their own arguments. You know, like I should have asked her, excuse me, ma'am, how do you suppose I'm gonna get into my truck? You know, my truck's parked over there, and to get into my truck, I either got to leap from the sidewalk or I've got to take one step on somebody's precious grass to step into my truck. Or I guess I could open it from the street side and crawl through the passenger side over the console to get back into the driver's side of my truck. I mean, would that be reasonable? So anyway, in a calm way, and that's the part I struggle with, talk to these people, let them know and see the foolishness of their own arguments. Thanks for watching. If you haven't done so, subscribe to the channel. Let me know what you think I should have done in this situation, and that no, I'm not gonna go do anything bad. I'm just gonna try to avoid this lady. She's not a nice person, and she should probably move out in the country where she has no neighbors. She does not enjoy people. I can't imagine for a second she would enjoy seeing kids playing in her neighborhood. That's probably one of the worst things. And so why they bought a house in a neighborhood full of young families makes absolutely no sense. I want to tell you about a couple things I'm doing now. One, I'm offering a 12-month-long mentoring program that's going well so far. I've had a good response from it, and we are getting started. So those that want to get in weed control and fertilization and need help with warm season grasses, I'm offering a mentor program which includes access to me by phone. Also, we have 2 live coaching calls. We're doing, you get all my courses included. You can come ride with me for the day. You know, it's a pretty good package. So some people are interested in that and take advantage of that. If you're interested, you can book a free 15-minute call with the link that's in the description. There's also a homeowner course out there for those who want to have a Bermuda zoysia lawn. I'll put the link for that as well, and you can buy that and learn how to take care of your Bermuda zoysia lawn. That is a video course that I put a lot of time into to make that great, to help people know exactly what to do to their Bermuda zoysia lawn. Thanks for watching. We'll see you guys in the next video.